you're working with it a lot. Can you kind of just touch on sterile processing and what it is? Because we've talked about it
Yeah.
on the show, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who don't know what that is.
Yeah. So, and it's a big part of like, yeah, it's a good point to bring it up because it's going to be where you're going to live if you're an associate for the most part
Yep.
in orthopedics. Sterile processing is a department that every single instrument tray that goes into those procedures has to go through, and it's the cleaning process. So you have to take the tray, they take it through a decontamination where they essentially wash it all off, clean it off, toothbrush, pipe cleaners. They put it through a washer, and then it goes through. They assemble it, and then they do another final inspection, and then they put it into basically an oven that cooks it and then really takes all of the contaminants off of the instrumentation, and it's wrapped. It's in a wrap at that point, and then once they're done with that, then it has to cool, and then you can use it in the OR.
Hmm.
That entire thing is typically about a 3 to 4 hour process, and you have to do it after every single procedure, and every single item that's supposed to go into the OR is supposed to be completely clean and good to be used on a patient. So that was that, and then that's also the area that you're spending all the time cleaning up all your sets. So I mean, in what I was doing, you'd sometimes we didn't do revision surgeries as much. We would do some extraction, but I know like revision surgeries they could have up to 50 trays is not uncommon to have, and then that means you have 50 trays that you got to go down and deal with in sterile processing afterwards. So the OR is a very small portion of the amount of time that orthopedic reps are spending in the OR.
Yeah.
In comparison, the rest of it is typically around the sides of it of you're dealing with billing stuff, or you're running down into SPD to reset your trays. You're running to the FedEx location to pick up replenishments, go back to the hospital, replace those in the trays if you have that, and yeah, so that's where it's the other half of your life.
Yeah, and I appreciate you going into detail, man, just because, like you said, sterile processing is such a big part of it. And, if you're being brand new like myself, I had never heard of it. I go down to the like a basement or whatever it is, you
Yeah.
find out, and you also learn though how big of a part they play in your life because if they don't do their job correctly and something gets sent up to surgery and it's not sterilized, you can't do
Hmm.
the surgery.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's huge. And then also
And it,
when you go pick it up, if it's not in there, now it's a game to go find out where
right.
it went.
Yep, and it's pretty crazy. Everything rides on it, and they're oftentimes an overlooked department.
Hmm.
They're one of the lowest paid departments, so you know you're the people there. It's amazing how most of them are really great to work with,
Hmm.
um, but you know they're not making a ton of money, and you have that weird dynamic where you're the device rep, and they think every device rep's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's not the case.
Yep.
And in a lot of cases, in a lot of instances. But there, I think that's kind of one of the things too. You know, people breaking into it, like once you've broken into it, doesn't mean anything
Yep.
because then you actually have to build relationships at all those facilities. Like if you get into it, you can quickly get out of it. If you're a jerk, if you're an
No,
asshole,
100%.
everyone's going to quickly get to that. And I know I experienced it. I've heard stories now that I'm on kind of the in between side here of seeing the hospital and working with the vendors between it all. But like some of these guys are just jerks to them,
Yeah.
and that was always one of the things that I appreciated, like from the groups that I worked with early on. They were all very on point with you're nice to every single person that you walk into in the hospital because we've had experiences where I became friendly with the janitor and he knew the surgeon that would walk through and he saw me talking to him and realized that like, all right, I can have a conversation with the guy. You never know who's watching and who's got the different connections and if you're looking at it from that perspective, it's going to be tough. So you got to be nice to everyone throughout the whole thing, and that's in general in any business too. Like,
Yeah, and just life.
be nice.
Yeah, I was gonna just say thank you so much for bringing that up because that's a huge point. Like, because you said, you can go in and you can just see these people just be nasty, and my always thought is like, what's the point? It's not good. I always am like,
Not going to help.
you're gonna catch more stuff with sugar than you are, with vinegar, and so
Yes. Yeah, that's it. But also, you're literally handing them the tray that you need in the surgery to make money, and you're gonna yell at them. And like, what are the chances that they mess with it?
no, exactly. It comes back to if you're rude to
Very
the person cooking
nonsensical.
your burger, you might get some spit
Right.
in your burger.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man.